Hey, amazing parents. What happens when communication starts to go sour between ourselves as parents and our children, most especially teenagers and young adult children, and even adult children? What do we do about it? What can we do about it? Is there a chance for reconciliation? Is there a chance to repair? Do you want to get that relationship back on track? If that's you, then this video is definitely for you. You see, in my many years of working with families, and this is over 15 years of working with families, I have come to realize that no matter the conflicts, no matter the gap in communication or the respect gap in communication between parents and their children, I have never come across a family where this conflict stems from no love. No. A lot of the conflicts stems from a lack of understanding of the different seasons that's happening in our children's lives, in our own lives as parents. So that lack of understanding of seasons, the lack of understanding of the growth that our children are growing through, lack of communication skills, lack of understanding of generations. That seems to be where a lot of the communication gap stems from. So, in this video, I want to share a framework I've titled Bridge, the Bridge framework. And in this video, it's going to be slightly different because in this video, I am speaking to both parents and to young adults. And I'm going to be sharing with you how you can use the bridge method in repairing, in getting your communication back on track. You see, communication is the bloodline of any relationship. And for me, I believe that the parent-child relationship is one of the most important relationships. Most important relationships, because it's the health of the parent-child relationship that helps the child when the child grows up and becomes a partner in their own future relationships. It really ties to it. And so for us to have healthier marriages, we have to have healthier parent-child relationships. That's the connection. Very massive connection. And so for me today, as I share this bridge tool, my desire is for parents and also for young adults and adult children and teenagers to see this as a safe space. It's non-judgmental. I'm not here to judge anyone or blame anybody. But I do know that when you have a healthy relationship with each other, it does do a lot for you. It does do a lot for you. And so that's why I do want to share this. And what have I got here? The bridge framework. And I'm going to be referring to my notes just so that I don't go off track. And I said here that, first of all, B is for breathing before reacting. And these are for parents, because I tell you something with parents. When our children react to us or speak back to us in ways that we deem disrespectful, a lot of times our reactions can go way more than even we wanted it to go. And so I want us to breathe before reacting, pause before correcting, pause before lecturing. Many conversations fail because we're very quick to bring in that control and that authority instead of, first of all, understanding where our children are coming from. Okay? So, for example, instead of saying, oh, you're not listening to me, just tell them, help me understand what you're thinking. Help me to understand what you're thinking. And for young adults, this B that I've got here means also pause before becoming defensive. I know that in the past, your parents have probably accused you, criticized you, judged you so quickly. So the minute they're coming to you with this advice or suggestions, we can be very quick to defend ourselves. And that's, this I'm talking to young adults here. And that's understandable. So my encouragement to you as young adults is not every conversation from your parent is an attack. So sometimes it's probably just a concern, but maybe expressed imperfectly. So I want you to be able to give your parents a chance and just listen to what they've got to say. And if they've come to you in a way that you don't appreciate, then you can say stuff like, you know what, mom, dad, I hear you, but I don't appreciate your approach to it. Let's talk some more. This is so important because the more you're able to communicate with your parents, and I know it's a new journey for many of you because you guys have been so used to your parents being the authority, being the authority and stuff, and now as an adult you're trying to navigate how you then express yourself constructively to your parents, because a lot of times the more constructive you are to your parents, the more they're actually forced to change if they're resistant in changing. So that's a suggestion that I would have is bridge before reacting, bridge before reacting to your parents. Parents, pause before lecturing or correcting your children. It's so, so vital. So vital. So that's B. And now for R, I've got respect the stage of life. This is so vital. Parents, our teenagers, and our young adult children and adult children are transitioning into independent thinking. They're not going to agree to everything you say, and that's okay. They're going to need to figure things out themselves, and that's okay. That's not being disrespectful. That's not, being influenced by the outside world. They have to develop that independent thinking. And so sometimes they may not agree with your ways. And it's just so important that we understand that and we respect that. And this is where having civil conversations with them come into play. They're not going to obey everything and agree with everything that you say anymore. That stage has passed. They will listen, definitely, they will listen. But it all depends on our approach as parents. So respect that stage of life. It's very important to respect the stage because when our children feel respected, they will also respect you as well. Respect is a two-way street. It's not just about us demanding respect from our young people. Our young people also deserve respect from us. And we model respect. And so it's so important to respect their ages. So ask yourself this question as parents before you approach your child. Am I speaking to an adult information, or am I speaking to a child that I want to control? That question will adjust your tone, will help you adjust your tone. That question will help you to check yourself before you actually speak to your young adults. For young adults, I want you to also respect the experiences that your parents have. Your parents come with a lot of life experience, they come with a lot of wisdom, and they don't mean any harm when they are sharing their suggestions or their wisdom to you. They don't mean any harm. Yes, sometimes it may come across in a disrespectful or rude way, but that doesn't take away the wisdom that they're sharing with you. And so in situations, you can say, you know what, even when we disagree, I'm still going to honor these guys because they've still got something to offer. They've still got something to offer. So it's so important. I give you an example. You can say things like, you know what, mom, you know what, dad, I may see it differently, but I do respect your concern. I may see it differently. So I'm not saying you must agree and see everything the way your parents see it. You can acknowledge to them that, yes, I may disagree, but I still respect your concern. And that's how you bridge that gap between yourself and your parents. So that's for R. The next is I, which I've called here, I've said, invite conversation, not confrontation. So for parents, I say, many conversations, honestly, they do feel like interrogations. And so instead of saying, oh, why did you do that? Or, just try and say, you know what, walk me through what happened. I always tell parents this, avoid the why questions when you're communicating to your children. Oh, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Sounds already like an accusation. Ask them what happened. What was your thinking behind it? Ask them the what's and the how questions. How can I help? How can I support you next time? Those are the kind of curious questions that opens up the door for our children to share with us and to communicate with us. So, very, very vital. And our tone changes everything. When you start with those kind of what and how questions, it adjusts your tone and it opens the door for our children to really communicate with us and share with us their concerns. For young adults, I will say here, I said, instead of shutting down or avoiding conversations, just try engaging respectfully. Yeah, try and engage respectfully. I know you've had experiences with your parents in the past, and it's very usual or it's very common for us to default to how our parents talk to us. And now that we're adults, we just don't want them to talk to us that way. So we get defensive. That's very understandable. And in this bridge framework, we just invite you to just engage with them respectfully. And now, if they go off course, as in become maybe emotionally abusive or verbally abusive, then you can put in the boundary and say, you know what? I want to speak to you, but I'm not going to speak to you when you're in this mode or when we're both in this high rated mode. Let's talk about it next time that when we're both calm. This is stuff that you can tell your parents. I know you're not used to it because of how you were parented when you were younger, but these are things that you can now do as an older teenager, a young adult, or an adult child. It's very important for you to, for parents to respect those boundaries. And it's you to communicate it to them, but you've got to communicate it to them in very respectful ways. That's how they can hear you. If it comes across disrespectfully, our parents won't grab it. Our parents will just say, you're just being rude. And that vital thing that you were wanting to share with them, we shut the doors, and when we're not able to share it with them. So that inviting conversations rather than confrontations is so important for both parents and for both, and also for our young adults and adult children. So vital. Okay. All right. And that's for I, invite conversation, not confrontation. The D is drop the need to always win. Drop the need to always win. Communication is not a courtroom. I say this a lot to parents, that communication is not a courtroom. It doesn't have to be that we have to win the argument. No. The key, I tell you, the key in communication is keep the relationship open. That's the key. That is the key for all of us. No matter what we're addressing, no matter the mistakes we're sharing, keep the relationship open. Sometimes that win is in understanding them, is in connection, is in trust. So communication doesn't have to be conflict. It doesn't have to be confrontational. It doesn't have to be always correcting them. No. Weigh the communication you have with your child. If you find out that you're correcting so much, you're criticizing so much, you're comparing so much, we need to make adjustments. We need to start on learning so that we can have more constructive conversations with our children rather than always being confrontational, being, correcting them and stuff like that. So drop the need to always win. And for the young adults, you don't have to prove your independence by opposing to everything. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't have to prove your independence by opposing everything. Sometimes there's wisdom. There's wisdom out there that your parents are giving you. And if because you're being independent now, you think you need to oppose everything they say, then take a minute and just step back a minute. Your parents have wisdom to share to you. And you being independent doesn't mean that you can't listen to your parents. You can listen, share with them. They share with them your thoughts. You share with them their thoughts. Say, I appreciate what you've said, but this is how I feel about this. And you explain how you feel about it. Always make sure that your voice is heard. But shutting them down, being, against everything they say, it doesn't open the door for healthy dialogue between you and your parents. So, let's drop the need to win, both on the parent side and on our young adults and adult children side of things. This is the way that we bridge that communication gap between all of us. And G is grow in self-awareness. For parents, ask yourself, what communication style did I inherit from my parents? That is big, because the way you parent, the way you communicate with your children has a lot to do with what you saw growing up? So ask yourself that question and ask yourself, am I repeating patterns that I experienced growing up? It's really key because sometimes we have to unlearn old patterns to be able to communicate well with this new generation of children. Very important. And unlearning it it doesn't mean or insinuate that your parents were bad in the way they parented you. No, it's just you've got to unlearn ways to be able to fit in our children's generation. For young adults, ask yourself, am I reacting from past hurts? Or am I assuming my parents mean the worst? Because sometimes we have to actually ask ourselves these questions because a lot of times when we're being defensive, it's because we don't want the past to repeat itself. And I get you. And I understand your past. I definitely understand your past. And yes, it was painful. It was painful. But the way you talk and the way you, I don't want to do but, and the way you talk today really matters. So grow in that awareness. Ask yourself, am I reacting from the past hurts? Am I just assuming that my parents are going to say what, do what they did last in the past? What am I reacting from? Self-awareness reduces unnecessary conflicts. It really does. It really does. And then the E is express care even during disagreements, even during conflicts. Express your care. Never let correction, parents, never let correction erase your connection. I'm going to say that again. Never let the way you're correcting erase your connection. Your connection is so important. So even when we disagree, you can tell them, even if I don't agree with what you're saying, I am still on your side. Say that to your child. Even if I don't agree with this stuff you're doing, this thing you've said, I am still on your side. And then for young adults and adult children, remember that many parents show love through concern and through advice, even when delivery is not perfect. And again, I'm not saying this to justify the way that parents are talking at you. And this is the reason why I do a lot of parenting education to help parents bridge that gap and learn how to communicate in better ways to our children who are growing older and older. So you can say, you know what? I know you care about me. And I actually appreciate that. These are the ways that we can bridge that communication gap and get our relationship going together. Parents, you deserve a healthy relationship with your children. Children, young adults, adult children, teenagers, you also deserve a healthy relationship with your parents. The two go hand in hand, and it's a win-win when we can both bridge that gap and communicate better and nurture and restore our relationships. One final note that I just want to share here, and I wrote this down, and I said, when communication breaks down in families, it's rarely because love has disappeared. I talked about that at the beginning. Most times it's because the bridge between generations have become weak. So rebuilding this bridge takes efforts and it takes growth. Keep learning, keep on learning, and keep relearning as we bridge the gap, as we bridge the connection between generations of parents and our generations of our children. I trust that this helps. If this has helped you, if you've resonated with this video, please share this video. Please share it to your friends and family. Share it to your children as well. Together, we can work together to make our families thrive. The more families that we have thriving, the more our society will thrive. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you here again next week. Remember, I am rooting for you all the way. Together, we can do this. God bless you and have a great one.